Hey guys, we're just gonna look at the data real quick. So here's our data from 15-16 quarter two. And so on 2E, we got about 33% correct. So this is determine an inverse function when it exists for a given function over its domain or a subset of its domain. This is the one we scored low in as a district. So I'm gonna give you an activity that might just help the students visualize it. But let's just always keep in mind that our curriculum are TEKs. 2J is also one, it got 46%. So analyzing and behavior. And then 5G, we got 28%. This was our lowest, solving polynomial equations with real coefficients. So I'm going to give you just a few activities that might help with these, and so we can improve this year. So here's one activity that I created in GeoGebra. I really like GeoGebra because it's a free program. There's free apps that the students can download on their phones. They can download on tablets. They can download the program onto their computer. They can also just access it online, and so it's really cool program that you can use with your students. It really shows the dynamic aspects of algebra, and so here, so we see we have this exponential function and we have this logarithmic function, and so these are actually inverses of each other. So if you want, I put a checkbox here to show this line y equals x, and you can ask students what they see about the relationship between these three. I also put a checkbox to show these points, and then you just move this slider and you can kind of have the students just look at this, play with this, see if they can figure out relationship between these 2 points that are on those 2 graphs, the gold graph and the blue graph. You can show one of the functions, see if they can find the other function. Here's the other function. And so it's just kind of an exploratory activity that you can use. Also, if you go to view spreadsheets, I created this spreadsheet so they can see our values here. So for this blue function, we have our x values, and these are our function values. For the gold, we have our x values, and then here are our function values. And so we can just kind of figure out, the students can kind of look at the relationship between these values and these values, and so they can see that, well, those values are just flipped here on your table. And so this is just kind of explored these relationships. So here's another thing I created in GeoGebra. And so you have your function here. You can change the sign of the function. You can change the numerator powers and the denominator powers. So you can see how that changes the function. And then the students can use these sliders. So as x approaches negative infinity, what is happening to f of x? And so the students use a slider so they see what's happening to these values. Well, they're getting closer and closer to negative infinity. Same thing with this one. As x approaches positive infinity, we can see our function values are approaching positive infinity. And then we switch those powers up. We switch the signs up. We can see how it's changing. So now here, as x approaches positive infinity, well, see it's approaching 0 here. Same thing with this one. So it allows the students to kind of explore different curves, different functions, and see what's happening to this end behavior. So this is just something I created real quick that you guys can use.